And one more time, what is up, boys and girls? It's your pal right here, the one and only Black Avenger, aka the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders, and you, my good friends, are checking out an all-new Impact Showdown coming at you this Wednesday, November 19th, 2014. We are talking about the series finale episode of Impact Wrestling on Spike TV, as this is it. Tonight was it. TNA made some big news earlier today as they have signed a new TV deal with Destination America, which is a sister channel, part of the whole Discovery Channel network. So they're going to be going over to Destination America in January of next year. And it's kind of fitting that we have all that's going on, because we had made a little bit of an announcement of our own earlier this afternoon. And if you're following us on our Facebook page over at Infinity One Productions, you definitely know what that news was covering. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, though. But hey, we do welcome you guys that always take the time out to check us out, whether it's our live web shows or you're checking out our audio podcast versions of Impact Showdown. We always appreciate the great love and support from you guys. As always, we want you to be a part of this episode, especially if you're checking it out live. You can interact with us a couple of ways. Hey, if you're watching us right now on YouTube, post those comments down below. We'd love to hear from you. You can also hit me up on Twitter at the RCWR Show. That's Twitter at the RCWR Show. Make sure you give this a like, Facebook, Google+, retweet. Always one of the best ways you can spread a good word about our content. So yeah, I was kind of teasing a little bit just a few seconds ago. You know, we have this final episode of Impact Wrestling that aired tonight. And, I was just kind of going through the motions a little bit with some of the things that I had a lot I was thinking about earlier today leading into this final episode. One of the things that I was definitely thinking about was the future of Impact Showdown. And we made the announcement first earlier today, as sadly, there's no more new episodes of Impact Wrestling that we're going to be able to see on Spike TV. As those of you that have watched Impact Wrestling tonight, you all know that watched it, that there's not going to be any more new episodes. Instead, Impact Wrestling is going to go on a 2-week hiatus. And then I think they said they're going to be back on December 3rd. But even at that, when they do come back on December 3rd, they're just going to be showing best of episodes. Curious to see if during the course of now and then, while they're still showing some type of episodes on Spike TV, if Spike TV will give them that nod to be able to hype up the fact that they're going to be hitting to Destination America. We talked at great length about the new TV deal and all that, so I definitely want you guys that did not check out the video we put on YouTube earlier covering that breaking news to piggyback, comment on that, as we will be reading some of the reactions from you all that heard about the news and you decided to interact with us as well. But on our Facebook page earlier today, we had announced that as a result of no more new episodes of Impact Wrestling, that Impact Showdown is going to be going on hiatus. It will return in January, the same time that Impact Wrestling returns with all new episodes. But there's also a flip side to that. I will be stepping down from Impact Showdown. I will no longer be the host. And the reason why, it was a difficult decision to make. I've been covering TNA pretty much going into 4 years now. And before that, I've always been a fan of the TNA product. Still am. I mean, I'm still going to be watching the TNA product. No doubt about that. A couple of reasons why I'm stepping down, though. Number one, I'm just really starting to get the itch to just be more behind the scenes. I'm getting in that producing phase right now. I'm really starting to get a little bit handy with video editing, post-production editing, pre-production, things of that nature. And I kind of want to really focus on that more and making sure that visually and it's a really good presentation, whether we're doing some type of it could be a live web show. It could be an excerpt of something that you're seeing visually, or maybe something that you're hearing. I've just been kind of getting the itch to focus more on that. And also, I just kind of feel like with TNA moving to a new network, I think it'd be kind of nice to have somebody else come in with a new, fresh perspective on the TNA product, because you can make the argument that with this new move that TNA is doing, that it's almost like a second lease on life for them. Some would maybe say a third lease if you want to get technical, but it's almost like one door has closed for them, but a new chapter for the company is opening. It's like, okay, here's a clean slate. You guys just get to start over. Yeah, and I just kind of feel like it'd be nice to kind of step away and just let somebody else that is really passionate about the TNA product come in and has a fresher perspective than what I have, and maybe they can bring something new to the table that maybe I can't cover, you know. Now, that's not saying that I won't be back. I may pop up from time to time, but for the most part, I'm going to be working behind the scenes with whoever the new host of Impact Showdown will be, as the quest is on to find a new host for Impact Showdown. So, a special invitation to all of you guys that's out there. From time to time, I get little private messages from you guys that always say, hey, I'd love to maybe sit in on the show, or hey, I think I could contribute a lot to your team, Lee. Maybe you should consider me for a future episode, or things of that nature. If you think you have what it takes, definitely send me a private message, hit me up on social media. We're easy to find, man. You're more than welcome to post your thoughts and interact with us and all that. We'll definitely try to see if we can make something happen. All right. But in the meantime, now that we've got that big piece of news out of the way, I know some of you guys are probably sad hearing that. I know, especially on YouTube, there's really not that many good people that's out there that can talk about the Impact Wrestling product. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. There's personal reasons attached to that as far as why I'm stepping down, but my health is good. Those of you that's curious, my health is good. But I really, it's all about making sure I don't feel too burned out. And as it stands right now, I juggle a lot as it is with a lot of the shows that I'm already doing. So this kind of frees up a little bit of free time for me. However, I still will be working with the TNAinsider.com website. So I'll still be posting some original articles on there. Like I said, I'm not going to stop watching the TNA product. I'll still be talking about it. I'll just be doing it through different other methods. All right. On that note, let's go ahead. Let's talk about tonight's episode of TNA Wrestling. For a series finale, ended on a damn good note. I must say, I was quite pleased with the overall presentation, the execution of this episode. I mean, it basically had a strong finish and it had a strong end. I love how they did that. It's those little things that count. For me, I'm a old school type of cat. If you're gonna open up the show with something that's really strong, grabs you by your seats, and you're kind of like, you're like, wait a minute. This actually looks pretty good. Let me put this down. I'm going to just kick back and I'm going to watch this, because I like the fact that they were able to reel me in the first 3 minutes. If they can get you like that to stick around for the entire episode, and then you get rewarded at the end by seeing one sweet ass finish, big strong beginning, big strong ending, for me, makes the overall experience worthwhile. And I love how things have began with the it factor, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Bobby Roode, coming down to the ring. Of course, he got wind, and he also, I'm sure, had probably saw the footage of what had came about with his friend Eric Young, who got a devastating beatdown by Bobby Lashley last week. Lashley trying to send a very powerful statement to Bobby Roode, which is the two of them, they aren't done, not by a long shot. Lashley wants another shot at that TNA championship belt. He wants his belt back, damn it. And Bobby Roode came down to the ring, pretty much sent the message to Lashley in front of the fans. Hey, I'm aware of the crappy attack that you did on my friend, and if you want a piece of me, here I am. I'm standing in the ring. Face me mano a mano. Lashley will come out. Rude took the fight right to the man. You just saw a big old slugfest come about as TNA security and personnel tried to do everything they could to break the two of those guys up. We would see Bobby Roode comment on the situation later on, saying, "Hey, Lashley, usually it's supposed to be the challenger challenging the champion, but not this time. I challenge you. You want a shot for the TNA championship? You got it. It's signed, it's sealed, delivered." We wouldn't hear when exactly that was going to be coming about, but Rude letting Lashley know he heard him loud and clear. You want a rematch, brother? You got it. And you could definitely tell that this is not going to be a wrestling match. This is going to be a straight up fight. And that's exactly what it needs to be. It needs to be survival of the fittest. From there, we go into one of our first matches of the night. You look at that strong segment opener right there. You follow that up with what I thought was one of two of the best matches of the entire night. No disrespect to the other matches that was on this episode, but just what really jumped out in my mind the most, I definitely got to give one of the nods to the knockouts. There was a triple threat match between the beautiful and the lovely Taryn Terrell taking on Gail Kim, taking on TNA Knockouts champion Havoc for the Knockouts championship. I love the story that was told in this match. I really, really did. Typically when you have your triple threat match, when you have a situation where it's two heels working together against the baby face, or maybe it's the other combination of two baby faces working against the heel, and then it gets to the point where face and face, they pretty much take each other on. We didn't get that with this match. I'm playing it back in my mind as I'm talking right now to you guys, and I don't recall, and I could be wrong. If I am, I apologize in advance, but I don't recall seeing Gil Kim and Taryn fight each other. I mean, for like pretty much all of the damn match, if I'm not mistaken. These two girls, they worked together to take on Havoc, and I love that story that was being told, because I got to be brutally honest, and it's no disrespect to Jessica Havoc. I've been a fan of her work. I first came exposed to her through her work in Shine Wrestling, and then it pretty much made me piggyback to seeing what other promotions she had worked out for and everything. And I just became a fan of her work really, really quick. And I definitely have been one of those people that's always tried to be consistent in defending her and always telling people, look, if you're not familiar with her work outside of TNA before she joined them, you need to do your research and look it up, because to a certain extent, I have always felt that she wasn't being truly utilized to her fullest potential. And even tonight, I still feel that way, as a lot of the matches that she's been having on Impact Wrestling, it's just come off just a little bit weak. Here you are, you're looking at this massive, uh, beautiful woman, nice BBW. I'll definitely give that to her. I know a lot of you guys, you always say, Lee, isn't she voluptuous? Yes, she is scrumptious, voluptuous, but she also knows how to wrestle. We haven't really been able to see a lot of that in TNA, but that's a different story, all right? But, the way she's been coming in and the way that she has been utilized in TNA so far, a little bit below average. If I were to give a grade between A to F, I'd have to give her maybe, and I'm being modest here just because I know of her previous work, but if I'm going to judge her work in TNA, I would have to give her a C, maybe a C plus. All right. And some of you guys hear that, you might be saying, ouch, if you're a long time Havoc fan, but I challenge you, go back and see every single match that she's had since she's been in there. It's been a bit average, a little bit below average to an extent, you know. I put the plus in there just for the damn effort. But for this particular match, it really came off like the story that was being told was okay, here are two girls that have been trying to do their best to get revenge on Havoc because this girl, she's come in, she's done cheap attacks to them, she's played downright dirty on these girls in separate attacks over the past couple of weeks. And you're saying to yourself, okay, Gail Kim wants her, hell, Taryn Terrell wants her. This is going to be one explosive match. This should be interesting to see. Didn't quite sit comfortably with the opening. I mean, we see Gail Kim come out, we see Taryn Terrell come out. They're waiting for Havoc. Havoc comes out. They give this girl enough time to take off her cape and her mask and all that. I'm thinking, you guys are supposed to be passionate and upset. You're supposed to be wanting to get your hands on this girl after everything that she did. Why are you waiting for her to take all her stuff off? You should be giving her a beat down right then and there. I mean, hell, Gail Kim, Havoc messed up your arm. What the hell, man? You know, get in there, get the big payback, you know? Other than the way that it did not start as I was hoping it would, the match itself overall was exceptionally good as it was pretty much about Gail Kim, Taryn working together to take out Havoc, and just the way Havoc would sell their moves. I mean, there was definitely some high risk maneuvers that was done off the top rope, definitely outside the ring. I love how you never saw Taryn and Gail go at it for a few minutes. Instead, it was just kind of like one good spot. Here's a good example. One good spot that we had saw at one point. I think Gail Kim, she had tripped up Havoc by the ankle, and then she had applied a leg submission hold, and then referee goes in. You know, he's looking at Havoc, trying to see if she's going to tap out. Then you see Taryn, she comes in, she takes the other leg, wraps it around, and then she grabs Havoc by her head. So she's kind of doing like a God, like she's stretching herself out like an accordion almost with the type of submission hold that she put on Havoc. And you're saying to yourself, "Damn, these girls are, ooh, damn, they're really trying to hurt this girl." Okay, well, if she taps, who gets it? Who exactly? What does that mean? That Gail and Taryn both are champions? What's going on right here? And it was like little stuff like that. One would do a leg sweep and the other one would come in. It was kind of like that. They were playing off of each other. They never took each other on, and that was cool. End result, we ended up seeing a very good finish as the beautiful and the lovely Taryn Terrell, for the first time in her TNA career, she has become the new Knockouts champion. Great sign of respect and support came from Gail Kim as she shook her hand afterwards, raised her hand up to the crowd. We got a new Knockouts champion. Congrats to the beautiful and the lovely Taryn Terrell, who honestly, I think when you just look at the entire roster, honestly, I think she, for many years to come, I think she is going to be a great acquisition for TNA. I think she's a damn good piece of talent, and she can go out there and put on a damn good, entertaining match with the best of them. My hat's off to her because every single time I've seen her in singles competition, I've never been disappointed. I mean, I'm even thinking about tag matches, and she always comes off like she's trying to do her best to entertain and get better. And I really, really love that. TNA did right signing her, as she, if I'm not mistaken, I believe a couple of months ago, she signed a new multi-year deal. I want to welcome those of you that are checking us out right now. It is the final episode, at least for now, of Impact Showdown. Your host right here, Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. In case you're just joining us, this is our final Impact Showdown as a result of Impact Wrestling airing their one last new episode as new episodes will not be coming back until January of next year, as TNA has signed a new deal with Destination America. This deal sees them being able to do more TNA original specials. Hell, this might mean that we'll finally start to see Explosion, and maybe we'll start to get episodes of British Boot Camp, but maybe they'll rename that. Maybe they'll call it TNA Boot Camp. Who knows? But also, in case you had missed it, this is going to be the final time that I will be hosting Impact Showdown, as when TNA returns next year for new episodes, Impact Showdown will be back, but you guys will have a new host. If you missed the reasons why, be kind, rewind. That's the best thing you can do. Let's continue on. Chris Melendez had a match against Kenny King. Nice match. Nice match. This was by far, since Melendez has been signed to a TNA contract, this was actually the longest I've seen him in a match. I mean, usually I'm used to like a few minutes, especially like in a tag match, because I think pretty much ever since he made his debut on the roster, I'm trying to think. This might have been maybe a second or possibly a third time he's had a singles match. So I can't really recall the other matches. I don't know if that's maybe because I wasn't paying attention. Maybe I was doing multitasking. Who knows? I can only judge off what I had saw tonight and try to piggyback to recent memory. And I swear this match felt like it was the longest that he's done since he's been in the company. And I must say, he's coming along nicely. I think the jury is still out with regards to him. I know some people, they want to be quick to judge him and compare him to other one-legged wrestlers such as a Zach Gowen. But I think he's coming around very nicely. I was quite surprised at the fact that he was able to take his mechanical leg and he was able to get it up high into the face of Kenny King, as there was a sweet spot where Kenny King was looking for a high risk maneuver, and Chris Melendez, he just put his mechanical leg in the air, and Kenny King just saw nothing but foot, and it was awesome, man. I couldn't help but say to myself, damn, if Kenny King wanted to, he can kind of stretch this out a little bit and try to see if he can get that mechanical leg banned from ringside, because he could make the argument that Chris was using it as a weapon or whatnot. But, one thing about this, I don't know if anybody else had felt this way, but with Kenny King and just the little bit that I've been seeing of his interactions with Chris Melendez, I just can't help but cringe and like actually have my hands under my butt as I'm watching these guys interact, because I'm saying to myself, please, 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 let's not see Kenny King do the unthinkable and rip off this guy's prosthetic leg and beat him with it. Because look, I think it would be awesome if a spot like that was done. But let me be brutally honest with you guys. We live in a pussified generation right now where the least little thing you do always gets put under the microscope. There's always a lot of scrutiny. You always got organizations coming together, things of that nature. And, it sucks. I mean, if it was 7 years ago, TNA could probably get away with it, but I don't think they would. And every single time I watch Kenny King and Melendez go at it, or correction, yeah, I said his last name right, I believe. Every time I see that, it's like, because there's just been these little hints of Kenny King could possibly go there. Like, take tonight, for instance. At one point during the match, we see Kenny King, he points at Chris's prosthetic leg, and he mocks him by grabbing on his own real leg and, kind of saying to him, I got a real leg, you don't, and it's kind of like stuff like that just kind of makes me go, I hope this isn't going to go that route where the leg is ripped off and he's beaten with it. That's just me. I mean, look, I'd like to see it. I would, but I think there would be some serious ramifications. I mean, if you want to talk about building some serious heat for somebody and trying to get somebody over as a very solid baby face, I mean, that would be a good way to do it eventually. Do a nice slow build up to it. Whether or not TNA is willing to do that, I hope they aren't, because I can just imagine all the protesting that would be going on and all the hating. And like I said, it's a pussyfied generation that we have going on, at least in this era at this time right now. I do hope it changes. EC3, Tyrus. They made an appearance where EC3, he wanted to do nothing more than get his hands on Rockstar Spud, because quite honestly, he's a little bit fed up of the fact that these guys have been going at it for a couple of weeks. EC3 was looking to end things once and for all. He actually called Rockstar Spud to come out and face him one on one. Spud would come out. EC3 would tell Tyrus, step outside the ring no matter what. Don't do anything. Don't need your help. Please don't interfere. And EC3 had offered to Rockstar Spud to deliver the first punch. And it was kind of funny how it came about, because you just see EC3, he's just kicking back, and he's got his eyes closed, and he's like, punch me, punch me, punch me, and he's got his lips pouted out like he's ready for a kiss. And it's like, dude, are you really ready for a hit, or are you ready for a kiss? Which one is it, man? And it was kind of nice to see Rockstar Spud say to EC3, I'm not going to hit you in the face. I'm going to kick you in the balls. And he just kicks him in the balls, and the two guys just start brawling like that. EC3, you know, EC3, that's one hell of a genetic looking freak right there. He would eventually get the upper hand on Rockstar Spud, as he asked Tyrus to get in the ring. Tyrus basically finished him off, and kind of gave me a nice little throwback to Umaga almost. You guys remember the late Umaga and how he would take out his opponents? Have that taped up spike thumb, and he just go, stab it right into the person's throat. We kind of saw Brodus Clay do a little something like that. I said Brodus Clay. I can't help it. I know his name is Tyrus, but that guy's always going to be Brodus Clay in my book, and there's nothing wrong with that name. I think it's a badass name. Brodus Clay basically did Rockstar Spud like a damn tennis ball. I mean, he literally just threw him in the air, spiked him in the throat. I mean, it was a great little spot right there. Brodus, baby, if you listening, you gotta make that be your regular finisher, man. You need a unique name for that, man. I don't know. I don't know what you can call that, but you got to keep that in your repertoire. That looks pretty badass. I think Umaga would be really proud of the way you do that. There was a very interesting backstage segment between MVP and the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. Now, we saw MVP off and on throughout the night, and he seemed like a man on a mission, a man that has just reached his breaking point, as he has just been fed up with a lot of the handlings, if you will, from one Kurt Angle, who's basically overseeing the day-to-day operations of TNA. And there was a breaking point, as MVP would get physical with the Olympic gold medalist, and he gave him a serious beatdown backstage, blindsided him and everything. A couple of segments would pass. We would see the Olympic gold medalist say, hey, MVP, I warned you to never put your hands on me. I'm going to deal with you later in the night. Let's go ahead and let's talk about, well, I wonder, should we talk about that spot right now? Let's tease you guys a little bit longer. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Let's move on to our next match. Brahm, he defeated Tommy Dreamer. It was another hardcore match, as we continue to see Brahm just really be that go-to guy when it comes to all things hardcore. And, I can't complain. It's working very well for Brahm. He seems to be going places with it. Magnus, on the other hand, not really so much. But Brahm, he's definitely found his theme, so to speak, in TNA. And I tell you, man, for me, I know some people may have different opinions when it comes to this. I mean, some people, let's be for real. There's hardcore matches and then there's hardcore matches. What I mean by that is you have hardcore matches where, okay, this person is taking on this person. There's weapons involved, so it's pretty much just going to be a spot fest. This person's just going to be attacking with different weapons, and it's going to be vice versa. Barely is there going to be a little bit of wrestling. But then you have hardcore matches where you get your wrestling. You get your wrestling that includes foreign objects, as there's a nice brilliant way where the weapons are being incorporated into wrestling. If you need a really good example of that, check out some classic Rob Van Dam matches in ECW. All right, need I say more? You get exactly what I'm talking about when I say you got hardcore matches and then there's hardcore matches. So, for me, what I've been seeing the past several weeks with regards to Brahm is Brahm has been wrestling and he's been going the hardcore route. And I think when you're able to put those two together, it makes a really good combination. Not everybody can pull it off as good. And Brahm just happens to be one of those people that is very diverse. He can go either way. Magnus, on the other hand, I mean, it sucks that he's now kind of taking a backseat to Brahm. At least that's the way it's coming off right now. And this just isn't what I had imagined initially. It really isn't. I was expecting for Magnus to continue to try to be a contender for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, but now it just kind of seems like, eh, it's not happening anymore. I don't know. It's very weird how they're doing Magnus. I would hope that in the coming year things kind of switch up. Probably what was the biggest mark out moment for me during the course of this was we had saw Al Snow come in, and as it was Brahm taking on Tommy Dreamer. Dreamer is getting a lot of exposure. I mean, kudos to him, man. He's got the House of Hardcore thing that's going on where we had heard that Alberto Del Rio had recently made an appearance there. I got some Del Rio news to talk about too after we get done with Impact Wrestling. But we saw Brahm and Magnus. They post match were doing a serious number on Tommy Dreamer. Nice, good blood spot too, man. Tommy Dreamer. Leave it to him to be the one to get busted open, just bleeding like a stuffed pig. And then all of a sudden, Tommy Dreamer gets help from one Al Snow. Al Snow coming out, tight spandex and all, got a phenomenal physique. I think that guy is like, if he's not 50 by now, he damn sure is in his late 40s. I know that much. I'm tempted to say he's 50, but if he's not, either way, he's got a damn good build. I mean, he's taken good care of himself over the years. We saw him come in. He tried to help out Dreamer, but the numbers game, they were able to get on his ass very quickly. But I love the fact that the way this has ended, Dreamer, Al Snow, looks like they're going to be working together to take on Brahm and Magnus. I can't wait to see how that match comes about. We saw a new X Division champion get crowned in one low key as he defeated Manic, Tigre Uno. I am missing one other guy, DJ Z. I believe that's it. I think I got all my guys because if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was a fatal four-way that we had saw right there. Of course, you all recall Samoa Joe. He shockingly had relinquished, like it was a fair card that he was given to a buddy. He coughed up the TNA X Division title and would say, "Hey, when I come back, I'll be looking to take on whoever the X Division champion is, and it's kind of like, all right, yeah, whatever. So we got a new X Division champion in Low Key. I'm happy for the guy. You know, it always seems like for Low Key, at least for me, and I've always thought Low Key has been one of those guys that's just been underappreciated, not utilized properly. We all remember his brief run in the WWE. That was a cup of coffee, and hey, what was his name over there? Kaval or some crap like that. They really didn't know what to do with him. But it's nice to see. It's really nice to see Low Key doing well for himself in TNA. It really just kind of seems like this go round TNA is really trying to be, what's the right words I'm looking for? It kind of seems like they're really trying to look out for him. It really seems as though they're saying to themselves, you know what, this guy has helped us a lot over the years. It's time for us to give back, and we need to start giving back in a big way. And I hope that this crowning of him being a X Division champion leads to bigger things. I mean, hell, I think if he puts on about maybe 15 more pounds, I'd love to see him maybe be one of those guys that tries to become a TNA World Heavyweight Champion next. You never know. Anything can happen with TNA. We've seen it time and time again. I just hope that if that move was made, TNA learns from previous mistakes, a la um, what was that guy that scruffy face Chris Sabin? Learn from stuff like that and instead try to build upon how it was when Austin Aries became the man. Hell, EY was a damn good champion. Unfortunately, the ratings weren't really coming in, but he was definitely a damn good champion. I will give him that. Main attraction of the night, Kurt Angle calling out MVP. MVP was under the impression that Kurt Angle was going to fire him right there on the spot. He didn't care. He was just, if anything, literally begging for it, taunting Kurt Angle to do it. Kurt Angle would tell him face to face, "No, I'm not gonna fire you. Did you think that is what was gonna happen? No, there's gonna be some serious ramifications because you put your hands on a TNA executive." Pause right there. So yeah, he put his hands on a TNA executive, and you're talking about how there's going to be consequences and things of that nature. Well, when Bully Ray had put Dixie Carter through a table, there wasn't any consequences. I mean, if anything, we didn't even see a story angle come about where Bully Ray had got fired from TNA, because when it's all said and done, he put his hands on a TNA top executive. No, on the contrary, we hear, oh, Bully Ray, he's resting up. He's taking care of some ongoing nagging injuries. We wish Bully Ray a speedy recovery, and we hope to see him one day back in the Impact Zone. That was literally what I vividly remember the commentator saying. So it's kind of like, I wish you guys didn't say that whole thing about don't put your hands on a TNA executive. So I kind of had to just, okay, moving along now. But Kurt Angle, he said, no, on the contrary, I told you that when you put your hands on me, there's going to be serious consequences, and I choose to do things a bit differently instead of waiting for the new year. Kurt Angle proceeded to beat the living hell out of MVP as eventually we had saw Kenny King. He attacked Kurt Angle from behind. MVP, he continued to go to work on Kenny King, not on Kenny King, but on Kurt Angle. I was thinking about Kenny King, though, as I was saying that, because I remember there was a couple of times Kenny King, he tried to get in his legs, and MVP was aggressively pushing him. It was getting really intense as MVP, he was just going off, and I like that. It's almost kind of like we're getting reintroduced to maybe the MVP that had that prison-like mentality. I'm sure you guys that are familiar with MVP, about his history and where he's come and everything. And it just kind of seems like MVP is kind of going that gritty. And I like that. I really do. That's a nice edge that he has. All right. Look, I've said it time and time again, as I've been a fan of MVP's work for many years. Nobody does heel better than MVP, and that's for real. We would see Mr. Anderson, who conveniently enough, he had appeared earlier in the night once Kenny King had let me see. I'm trying to think back to that Kenny King Chris Melendez match. That match had ended in a DQ because MVP came out and he actually took a steel chair to Chris, and that would actually prompt Anderson to come out. He wasn't able to get his hands on those guys, but in this main attraction of the night, we saw Kenny King come out. Here he is once again, and he was going to town on Kenny King. And then we see Bobby Lashley come out. Turns out he was there. He started cleaning house. Bobby Roode comes out, and pretty much it just ended in like one nice slugfest. So I mean, you're looking at everything that's just going on right there, and you're saying to yourself, "Damn, what an interesting situation we have right here." On the one side, you have Bobby Lashley, you have MVP, you have Kenny King, and then on the other side, you have the Olympic gold medalist, the director of operations, Kurt Angle. You have Mr. Anderson, and then you have Bobby Roode. And I dare say, I think worlds are going to be colliding in 2015, as we're probably going to see a six-man tag match between those guys. I mean, if I'm thinking about the first, I don't know if it's going to be a live episode or what, but if I'm thinking about the first episode of Impact Wrestling on Destination America, that'd be one hell of a six-man main event match, assuming that TNA has worked out a new deal with Kurt Angle and he's going to be working with them pretty much until he is ready to retire. But overall tonight, I got to tell you, man, great solid episode of Impact Wrestling. I have no complaints about this episode, especially from the production value standpoint. I like some of the video packages they were showing, like in particular for the Knockouts Championship, what all's been going on with Bobby Roode and Lashley. Great stuff. I mean, production value wise, right down to the point I was noticing those little things, such as the hype for the TNA shop website. It looks like they got a new team. I don't know if maybe Josh Matthews is behind that or what, but you see the nice fresh layout they got going on. And then we got introduced to the TNA lister. I don't know if you guys have signed up for that. I have. I did it earlier today, actually. And I was happy to be one of the first people to get the announcement. I got the alert on my Samsung about TNA doing a new deal. With doing a new TV deal with Destination America before it was even put out public. I think they waited like maybe, I don't know, maybe like 30 minutes or an hour before they made it public. And yeah, if you haven't signed up for that yet, make sure you do. You can do so by heading over to the impactwrestling.com website. So, big piece of news this week is the TV deal. Like I said, I have an interesting article for that that you can check out. As I had talked about the different channel options that I felt TNA had, and Destination America I did mention. So it's going to be a very good read for you guys to read it now. And this was something I wrote like almost 2 months ago, I think. And it's just kind of funny how everything just lined up in the end here. Other pieces of news, we're getting the rumblings that Alberto Del Rio is looking to not only work for the Lucha Underground promotion, I mean, that's like set in stone. He's definitely going to be working for them in 2015, but we're getting rumblings that he's possibly going to be doing some work in the TNA promotion. We know he's definitely doing some stuff with AAA and all of that, but this is one of those type of situations where right now we're just hearing rumblings. So I know we have a lot of people that are ecstatic. They just love the idea of Alberto Del Rio in TNA. Where was this passion and energy when he was in the WWE? By the way, but anyway, whatever. But I'm very curious to see how everything goes down in 2015. I mean, if TNA has tried to reach out to him and he's interested, I can only imagine how that would be. when he gets over there, if he does come over there. Of course, we're also hearing the rumblings that maybe CM Punk is going to be coming to the TNA promotion. I don't know what to make about all that, but it is what it is, man. Hey, I hope you guys are appreciating what we're doing for you guys here tonight. If you are, make sure you share this a number of ways. Facebook, Google Plus, retweet. One of the many ways you can spread a good word about our content. All right, make sure you give this a like too. And somebody said something cool earlier today. It was somebody on YouTube I had came across by accident as I was looking for some other content to view, and they said, I think it sucks whenever YouTube uploaders get a dislike because, and she said, what she said was very interesting. She said, I think it sucks when YouTube uploaders get a dislike because when it's all said and done, they put time and effort into uploading the video content that they want for people to check out. And even if you don't agree with a lot of the things that the uploader is saying, if you genuinely can ask yourself and answer yourself, hey, did this uploader really try to put a valiant effort into this particular topic? That alone should give them a thumbs up. To dislike somebody, honestly, well, if you don't like what's being said in the video or you don't like the uploader, X out your window, move to something else. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of interesting what she said right there. I never really thought about that before. It's those little things. I think that's going to be my new thing, the little things. But in the meantime, let's go on ahead and let's check out some of you guys' comments and see what you all have to say with regards to tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling and also the news about TNA moving to Destination America. I'm actually visiting the TNA Insider website as well as the Impact Wrestling website just to make sure there's no breaking news that's going on, because sometimes they like to do that little type of stuff from time to time. And on Impact Wrestling's website, it is definitely nice and quiet right now. One thing that almost had slipped my mind, though, and I want to share this with you guys. Of course, I'm sure some of you have probably heard about Ethan Carter III getting injured. There is a new update as EC3 is slated to undergo bicep surgery. He's set to do that. Looks like he already did it earlier today. And as a result of that, it's being said that he's going to be out of action for the next 4 to 6 months. This is real time that we're talking right here. 4 to 6 months. So that's definitely a serious blow to TNA Wrestling, as he is definitely becoming one of its fastest growing and rising stars. One thing that I can't help but think about, what does this mean for Brodus Clay, aka Tyrus? Where exactly do they go with that? Because unfortunately they haven't really done a good job, TNA that is, in really building a nice, good backdrop of a story that you can sink your teeth into with regards to Tyrus. I mean, they just basically had him show up, and he's basically been somewhat of a silent lackey to EC3. And I don't like saying that about Brodus because I think he's pretty freaking awesome. He's a cool person, but that's just the way that they've been operating. So I hope that in weeks to come, when new episodes begin to get filmed, that something big comes about with Tyrus there. All right. On that note, let's go ahead. Let's get to you guys' comments here. My favorite part of the show. Robert, I would love to see Havoc versus Awesome Kong and Angle versus Lashley at the debut show on Destination America. Robert, I ain't seen you in a good minute too, by the way, man. I always appreciate it when you interact with us on our TNA content. Austin, I had a mega crush on Taryn Terrell since her WWE days. Glad she has a championship. TNA was great. The Knockouts match was good. I felt shocked and happy that Taryn Terrell won the Knockouts title. And did you know she was in the WWE at one point? Yeah, many of us did actually. Eager Beaver, I love that. Great review, Lee. Appreciate your hard work. Mixer, this was a great show, and we didn't even have a bunny humping everyone in the anus. I like that one. That's good. Let's see what else we got here. Man Lee, this comes from Weston. Man Lee, I can't believe I will be watching you for a year now, come this January. Anyway, keep up the good work. He would also follow that up by saying, in your opinion, is T Grey Uno better than Prime Rey Mysterio? No, no. And do you think T Grey Uno will have a better career than Rey Mysterio? No. No and no. Those are my short answers. See here. What is your opinion? In your opinion, has signing WWE rejects hurt the TNA product, considering it feels, or correction, considering it makes TNA feel like WWE 2.0? And then we already told you about why I'm no longer going to be doing Impact Showdown. Be kind, rewind if you had missed what I said at the very beginning. Um, Let me tackle the first question there. WWE Light or WWE 2.0, I don't pick up that vibe, quite honestly. I don't. TNA, they've done a really good job this year in really trying to branch out and create their own original stars, and at the same time, testing out the independent circuit. They've been doing a good job in reaching out to other promotions, whether it be ROH or, maybe they have acquired somebody overseas. I mean, I think there is a really good balance on the TNA roster right now. You know, honestly, it's like this. Who wouldn't want to work for an employer that gives them the creative freedom to be them, not be in a position where they have some script being handed to them, or they have to go out and they got to rehearse lines 3 4 hours before a show and all that other silly crap, especially if you're in a spot where you've been in the business for X amount of years and you can go out there, you can deliver, you know, why, who wouldn't want that position? So I'm not really buying this whole 2.0 crap. I think anybody that wants to go that route, they're making one sorry argument in my book, because TNA has really done a good job and balancing things out. They really, really have. And other than that, I think that's pretty much it. All right, so you know what? I think we had a sponsor for tonight's show, and I gotta make sure we show them some love. I want you guys to do me a huge solid. Those of you that are into your NFL, your NBA, or maybe you're into hockey teams and all that, there's a really cool website I want you guys to check out. We got to give a shout out to Gator Mats, as they are sponsoring tonight's episode of Impact Showdown. Gator Mats, hit them up at gatormats.com. That's Gator, like, alligator, Gator, and then Mats with one T in there, gatormats.com. Anything you can think of as far as mats go, they got your hookup, man. Whether you want a Baltimore Ravens football rug, or maybe you want a Los Angeles Kings mat, or maybe you're into the college stuff. Maybe you want a Florida State University all-star rug mat. They got a little bit of something for everybody. They got great rugs, mats, you name it. Hit them up at gatormats.com. I promise you won't be disappointed. They are 100% American made. They are officially licensed and recognized by many of the organizations that's out there when it comes to the colleges, military, the NFL, and all that. Check them out. Officially licensed mats you can check out. That also includes grill mats. So nothing wrong with getting that early jump. You know how it is, man. Spring, summer comes around the corner. Next thing you know, you got to roll out the grill again. So check them out when you guys get a chance. We definitely want to thank them for sponsoring tonight's episode. All right. So on that note, that is going to do it. I didn't mean to be dismissive to some of you guys that might have just joined us, but to the people that have been watching this particular show from the very beginning, I went into great detail why I am going to be stepping down from Impact Showdown, even though we will be bringing the show back. I just won't be hosting it anymore. And I mean, of course, that could change. I may change my mind, but the way I'm feeling right now, I'm like 95%. I don't believe I'll be coming back. All right. Because at the point I'm at right now, it's all about getting somebody else to come in and offer a fresh take and all that. And I mean, look, you still got me on Mondays, you still got the radio edition on Tuesdays. I definitely will be continuing to talk about the Lucha Underground promotion. So I'm not really going anywhere. And then if you really want to get my thoughts on the TNA product, I'll still be continuing to write articles for the TNAinsider.com website. So not really going anywhere. I'm just stepping aside from Impact Showdown. But if you missed all the details why, that's the beautiful thing about when you watch us live on YouTube. You can now rewind, even though we're live right now. You can rewind it back to see what all you missed. And of course, if you're going to be checking out our audio podcast version of this, you can rewind as well. That is going to do it. In closing, I would like to say that it's been fun, always talking TNA weekly with you guys. I definitely want to thank you, the fans that have continued to show your support to us over the years. I definitely, most importantly, want to thank TNA Wrestling, because without TNA Wrestling, there wouldn't be an Impact Showdown. I definitely want to thank all the men and the women over the years that we've been on the air that have come into the TNA promotion, and all they've tried to do is come there and look for their opportunity to shine and entertain the masses, as it's a lot of hard work in what they do. I definitely want to give a shout out to everybody that at one point was affiliated with TNA Wrestling, that took the time out to be interviewed by us, whether that be Joey Ryan, who we chatted with twice, Gunner, Jay Bradley. We talked to him when he was on the roster and after he got cut. You all know who you are out there. So definitely a big, big thank you. And here's to 2015 as far as new beginnings go, as TNA gets a new home and all that. And on that note, one final time, I'm wishing all of you all to be safe and be kind to one another. Impact Showdown will be back in 2015. That is going to do it. Until next go round, please, everybody, take care. Good night, good morning.